Hello and welcome to Beatson Cancer Charities podcast, Beatson Talks. My name is Laura Boyd, and for today's episode, I am joined by Michael Gallacher, a man with quite a story to tell. Michael, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Nervous, but very good.
There is nothing to be nervous about. I don't bite, I promise. But no, it's a very chilled chat, and you've got an amazing story to share with us because you've raised a lot of money for the Beatson. But like so many others, you've been directly affected by cancer. Yeah. So if you don't mind, Michael, can you take me back? Because it wasn't actually that long ago. You've been through all this, was it?
No, I got diagnosed in October 2023, but I was actually getting symptoms from February 23, so it was. But so I was getting like really intense like heartburn. That's how I kind of started off with. I was going back and forward from the doctors. They said that I had Helicobacter, and they put it down to that, and I was just taking omeprazole for months and months at a time. Then I got told, double up the omeprazole and stuff like that, and it was working. Funny enough, it was taking away the pain, but as soon as I stopped taking the omeprazole, I was getting really bad, intense chest pains, and I mean, you could tell it wasn't normal, and so I decided to go through private healthcare through my work. And I had the scope on October 23, and I was diagnosed within 2 weeks' time, and kind of fast-tracked to everything that went on afterwards.
And what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
So it was stomach cancer I had, stage 3 stomach cancer.
Yeah.
So it was just obviously just in time when you got it, and I remember when they said it was cancer, I remember thinking to myself, well, surely it can't be like very far on then, because I was still going to the gym, I was still very active, I was fit. All I was getting was these chest pains, and I was putting it down to, then obviously your first thought is that it must be an ulcer, it must be this. You're never for a minute thinking that it's cancer, and especially because I was still, I remember the week before I get diagnosed, I went and done a half marathon, just went out and ran. And I was,
casually,
I was like, I'm going to do a half marathon today, and then it just, so yeah, it was a shock to the system.
You're a young, fit man. What age were you when you were diagnosed?
So I'm 39 in November, so I was 37 when I was diagnosed, 38 just now, so I was 37 when I was diagnosed. As I said, I was in the gym constantly, I was always playing football. And I kind of watched what I ate. Don't get me wrong, I'd like everyone else, I would have a beer at the weekend and eat some junk food. Not every weekend, now and again, and stuff like that. But about 90% of the time, I was on the ball as well. I would say it was just a right shock to the system.
Well, when they told you it was cancer, can you tell me a bit about what that moment was like?
I remember just kind of being silent. I didn't. It was just trying to absorb it, and I remember turning up to the hospital and said, can you come down? And in my head, I still thought they were going to tell me you've got an ulcer and we'll sort it out and stuff like that. So I was taken into the room. I remember my wife saying, I'll come down with you to get the results. And I'm like, listen, it's fine. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if it was anything more serious. So it's going to be an ulcer or something, and we'll deal with it. And then I went down and the girl brought me in, and one of the first things she said was, would you like me to get your wife, or is she with you? And right then,
you knew.
I just knew right there. And it was like a silence. I can remember everyone just dragging on, it's just as if time stood still. And then they were explaining it to me. And the girl was lovely, her name was Louise. She was absolutely brilliant. And it was, then they went and got another girl called Katie, and both of them I still talk to today because they're my check-up nurses and stuff, And I remember at that point, they just kind of brought me around, and I remember saying to them, you're going to try and save my life, and he said, yeah, we're going to try. And then they explained, listen, we've got your scan, it's in one place. And that's obviously a very positive thing, that it had not moved anywhere. So then I had to go and get a couple other things after that to make sure it hadn't spread, called a laparoscopy. And they went round all my organs round about my stomach and stuff like that. So although after I found out, I'd still had to find out it not went anywhere else, So
that's a terrifying time. You're in this weird limbo period, aren't you?
It was, and that was the hard bit about it. So after even getting told that I had it, I still had to go and get this laparoscopy, which was to go around my other organs to make sure it hadn't spread. So you've got that time frame, you're waiting on that. And then again, once they'd finished that, it was another 2 weeks down the line. And I remember going in and talking to the surgeon, and that Louise was there again, who was the nurse who kind of broke it to me and stuff. And I was shaking. I could feel myself just about to collapse my whole body when I was going into this room to talk to the surgeon to get these results. And Louise kind of just turned around and said to me before I went in, "You're going to be all right." And it was like an emotion, like I could feel myself well up a bit. And then we walked in and the surgeon explained to me and stuff like that. And it was hard. And obviously there was a total gastrectomy. So at first we weren't sure if it was going to be part of my stomach that we're going to take out or the full stomach and stuff. So when he said the full stomach to me, I was like, how's this going to go? How's the rest of the house going?
What happens with that then? How do you...
It's exactly what I said. Like, how does this work?
Yes. Where does my food go?
There was one of the surgeons, Mr. Anderson, down at the Wisha, and he explained it perfectly to me. He's like, "We're just going to replumb you." That's the way he said it.
Casual.
Yeah, he was just like, "We'll take that out and we'll replumb you and everything will be all right and stuff," you know. So it was, although it was a big life-changing alteration and stuff like that, that one sentence still sticks with me. "We're just going to replumb you." And so it's apparently I don't know. It's like, I don't know the technicalities of it, but it's like I think their intestines get stretched up and that turns into a bit of a stomach, and I don't know, but it seems to be working. It seems to be.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
It seems to be going all right.
What was it like having to tell your wife and your family and friends?
So I remember phoning my wife. I got into the car park and I just phoned her. And I'd kind of explained to her, and she was in shock, and she's like, "What?" Because obviously we thought it would just be an ulcer or whatever. And she kind of just left her work and "I'll meet you at the house, And we got to the house, and it was just, we held on to each other for a bit, like crying and very emotional. And like, but then she was like, "It's going to be all right, I promise you." It's like, she was just so, I think she just took a change at that point where she was just confident for me. It was absolutely fantastic. And it kind of brought me around. She's like, "Everyone's going to be all right." So the next thing, I'm lying in bed that night and I'm like, how do I tell my mum and dad?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Maybe we just go down that night." It's like, "Maybe we just go down now. Maybe we just go and do it."
Yeah.
And so I went down, and so I was sitting with my mum and dad. But by that time, my wife had kind of pulled me around a wee bit. I was like, "You know what, I'm in the zone here.
We're going to get through this."
So when I went down, I said to my mum and dad, I sat with them, I just explained to them, "Listen, it's cancer," and you know, the reaction, very emotional, terrified and scared. But I just said to them, "Listen, I've spoke to the surgeons, I've spoke to the nurses and everyone. They said I can get surgery. It's like, there's something they can do here, you know. Obviously nothing's guaranteed, still not, you know, but you know, I was in a best of a bad situation, let's say, you know." So
you had good people around you.
Yeah, that was it. So I explained to my mum and dad, "Listen, there's something they can do. There's a game plan, I believe, for me and stuff like that, and we're just going to go for it." You know, so I think by the time, it was emotional through the conversation, and then by the time we got to the end of the conversation, they were a wee bit more, I'd say, G'd up a bit. They were like, "You know what, let's do this, let's get a show on the road," type of thing, you know. And another one, probably one to mention, is my mother-in-law. She just, for day one, she was like, "You'll be fine." She's like, this isn't going to beat you, you're going to be absolutely fine. And sometimes you just need somebody to be like that, you know, like, "Listen, this is going to be all right, don't worry about it."
You do actually. My mum was very like that as well, you know, like, "Come on, we're not going to get down." And even though you know, probably inside they're crumbling, but you need like somebody that can give you that positivity is amazing. I hosted an event recently and there was a woman chatting, like I was interviewing her on stage, and she had stage 4 breast cancer, and she broke down in tears, understandably. She said, "I've got stage 4 breast cancer," and it was a ladies' lunch, and her friends were all on a table, and one of them shouted, "Get a grip." And it was hilarious because it just broke the ice. It was the most Glaswegian thing I've ever heard, "Get a grip." And the woman herself just burst out laughing. And it was like, sometimes you need that wee bit of humour, don't you? Or just that kind of like, buck up, you're going to get through, you know, kind of thing.
And I like that. And my mother-in-law was very much like that, you know. And as I said, you just need that one person to, like, "Come on, let's get the head up here," you know. My friends, I told like my 2 closest friends, the 2 best men at my wedding, kind of explained to them at the start, and they were with me for the first few months, but I never explained it to, or let all my friends know until I kind of got to the surgery stage, because the way it worked for me was 4 chemo, surgery, and another 4 chemo. So after I got the 4 chemo, I'd kind of let the rest of my friends know, because by that time I'd done a scan, and I think from what I gathered, the chemo done brilliantly for me, you know. I think it done a lot of destruction to what was going on in there. And that's when I said, right, surgery's definitely going to happen now. So now that I know surgery can happen, I can open up a wee bit more. And one thing I can remember is saying to my pals, like, listen, please don't dwell on this. I've got I'm in a good place. And everyone was just normal, you know, they kept it normal. I don't even think we spoke about it in the group chats at any time. You know, there might have been the odd message saying how you getting on and stuff. But, you know, apart from that, it was just everyone went on as normal. And then before I got my surgery, it was a wee bit, you know, everybody was kind of like, I hope it's going to be all right and stuff like that. But then again, as soon as I get through the surgery, then everyone was kind of, my friends were just brilliant. They were just the way you'd want your friends to be. I don't kind of like the whole, are you okay thing, because I don't respond well to it. Whereas as I said about like my mother-in-law talking to my wife being more confident, I respond well to that. I'm going, right, that's it.
A sense of normality is good, isn't it? It's
definitely.
Almost like everything carries on. You need to carry on. Was your surgery at the Beatson, or what was your treatment
my
there?
treatment was at the Beatson. So I had 4 chemos at the Beatson, and the surgery was in Wishaw, and then another 4 chemo at the Beatson. But it was just flew in. It was like I started my chemo. I went to Rome after I kind of get diagnosed and stuff like that. I was like, I want to see Rome. I want to go and do what I've got to do and see these wonderful things that I've always wanted to see. Kind of get myself prepared for it and stuff. And then I went into the Beatson. And I remember when I first went into the Beatson, I mean, you were kind of touching on it earlier. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be like, really scary and a wee bit of doom and gloom. And I remember I must have been in the place 5 minutes on my chair, nice and comfortable, getting my treatment. And it was a nice room and stuff, and the nurses were fantastic. And I was going, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, this is actually all right. And I thought it was going to be painful and all these other things, and it was just none of that. It was a very relaxed environment. Nurses were brilliant, and within about half an hour sitting there, I was hearing all these fantastic stories, and there was people who were in getting their treatment with me who just got the all clear and they were about to finish their journey and all the rest of it. And you're like, this is...
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
I think also it brings together people from all walks of life.
Definitely.
I think when you're in that room, it doesn't matter what age you are, where you're from or whatever, you're all obviously going through this hellish thing, but it brings you together and it kind of breaks down barriers almost. I think.
Definitely. And there was all sorts of age groups, and there was like people younger than me, and there was people a lot older than me, and there was a guy in, right, and I don't know if he's mind me telling his story, but he was a lot older. He was an older gentleman, right, but he was like a roadie and stuff, and he'd followed bands, and I remember just when I was going to the bathroom at one point, and he was like, I'm Dave the Rave or something like that, but he must have been I think he was in his 60s, and his wife, and that was with him because it was his first time in, but he was on his 4th different type of cancer, because it was genetic or something like that. And this is another story that inspired me. So it's something else I didn't even know was possible. I don't know, I can't remember exactly the 4 different types were, but he'd got one, beat it, and he was clear for years, and then he got another one, all different types, beat it, and then he was in getting the same one as me. And he'd be saying, like the doctors when they seen him, saying, he's going to be all right.
He'll be fine.
You know, and this must have been going on for, I don't know, 30 years or something. They said he had his first one in his 30s, and so you're 30 years down the line, 4 different types of cancer, you're there and you're like, this place is doing good.
They're working wonders. I'm in good hands. And stories like that do help, and that's why we're so grateful to people like you for sharing your story as well. And you know, it's not easy, and we were speaking outside about you can be fine and then somebody you don't want to talk about it, and sometimes because it's a massive thing, it's a life-changing thing. And you're doing really well just now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really, really well, you know. But as you touched on there, I still have my bad days. It's like I still go to the gym and do sports. And the funny thing is, I kind of touched on earlier, see if I pull a hamstring or I do my groin or I get an injury, all of a sudden I kind of get into this panic because every bit of pain, my brain seems to associate with everything I've just been through, you know. So then it takes me a couple of days to go, right, it's just a sport injury. Or I remember picking up a flu or a bug in holiday recently and all, and I was just like, oh no, what's this? And I was in a bit of a panic for a couple of days, and then you realise you start to feel better. You go, right, so it's obviously just a cold or a flu, you know. But yeah, so fitness wise and out and about, I've been on holiday, I've been to Disneyland with the kids, been away 3 times, music festivals, gigs. So yeah, life's pretty good, but yeah, it still has its days.
Its down days. What was it like spending those times like Disneyland and stuff like that? Are there moments where you sometimes take a second and go, oh, thank God, or this is incredible, or, you know, I sometimes have those moments where I'm like, I can't believe I'm still here and this is amazing, you know.
It was, especially in Disneyland, because that's one of the things you want to do with your kids. You wanted to experience it. And it was, so I had my surgery, and then I finished in May. I think we went to Lanzarote in July, then we went to Disneyland in November. And by that time I was starting to feel like really good at that point, you know. And rather than taking photos all the time of things now, I find myself just sitting watching it, enjoying and appreciating it. I appreciate it a lot more. And we were in Lanzarote again there on holiday, and the kids were running up and down the beach, and it was just in the seawater. And once again, try to shouting the wife, get photos and stuff like that. I just found myself looking about and just taking it all in and appreciating things a lot more. So there's a lot of that going on as well.
That is really special. And you touched on the gym there. You just casually threw that in, but it's not just you're not there doing a wee Zumba class or something like that. You have properly gone for it and have been raising money for the Beatson. So what is this you've been doing? Triathlon?
Yeah, so it was a Highlander Triathlon, and it was my friend Alex that came up with it. So it was, the challenge was up and down Glenette or the Buccleuch of Moor up in Glencoe. So we were up and down that. Then it was cycle for 52 miles into Luss, and then it was a 4-mile kayak. And it never kind of went to plan on the day, to be fair. So we went up and we were down the mountain, and the next thing you know, when we got to the bottom of the mountain, we got a phone call saying our van with our bikes had broke down.
Oh no!
Yeah, so that was good. So we're sitting there at the bottom of this mountain for like 15-20 minutes going, do we go back up and down it? We need to get a bit of blood here, guys. Do we start running towards the van, you know? So what we decided to do, I think the King's Barn, is it King's Barn? Or the King's Hotel is just down the road from it. When I say down the road, it's on the West Highland Way for a few miles. So we got on that and we started walking, and eventually we got a phone call saying they were bringing our bikes to us there. So we added a 3-mile walk in.
As you do.
You do. And then when we got to our bikes, they said, right, we need to take this van away to get fixed, because it was on the back of another big truck. Said, you need to take everyone we can't meet you at the kayaks anymore. So we're all going through our stuff going, right, what's the essentials here, what do we do? And so we got to the kayaks, and as I said, somebody was meant to take our bikes away. When we got to the kayaks, they'd take our bikes away, and that would be us, we'd head home. But we had to go on the kayaks, get back off the kayaks to where we got on, so we could cycle back into Balloch, because we had no truck, and we had to go onto the train with our bikes. So it was...
You just added a few extra elements.
Yeah, that was it. You know, but it was a great day, and there's people seeing us, we're in our rest areas, and people working up and handing us money for the charity. And then on the train, as I said, we were on the train with our bikes, and people working up and talking to us, and some people had their stories as well and telling us about them, and they were handing us money. So it was some day, and in the end, I think it was over around about 14,500 we raised. So it was incredible. We're absolutely delighted with it. So we were.
It's so good. And was it good to do that with your friends as well?
Amazing, yeah. So there was a few of my closest friends that joined me for that one, and then there's this other group of guys that we do something. We raise money for charities every year. It's probably going on close to 10 years now. And we get a mention in Parliament that we've raised over like 50,000 for all different charities.
That's amazing.
So it can be like from mental health to the kids' hospital, CHAS, and then obviously cancer now, you know, in the Beatson. So it was... we've done this for a long time now, and we always kind of put our body through the mill to try and raise money for whatever we can.
And one of the nice things about this podcast is we speak to so many people, and no matter how they've been touched by cancer, so many of them want to give back to charities like the Beatson. Was that driving you? Did you feel really compelled to do that?
100%, just because of as I said, it was inspiring stories when I was there. It was, if I didn't hear these stories, I would probably had a lot more darker days. And it was just, I felt being in there really made me see all these positive outcomes and people's other great stories that were happening there, you know. And I was like, they're saving lives here every day, they're extending lives. I didn't even know some of the stories what we talked on earlier was even possible. How long people can go, and it's incredible what they're doing. And I thought, I need to do something here. And it was the biggest amount we've ever raised for one of our charities yet, you know. So I'm going to have to stay on it, the guys now, keep doing it for the Beatson.
I know. Well, what's the next one? What's the next plan?
So, we kind of talked about it earlier, we don't discuss it until we'll probably get Christmas and New Year out.
I love that you get home money out.
Well, like, when we'll wake up in like the second a bit hungover or a wee bit and going, yeah, we really need to get fit again here, so then we'll decide what we're going to do next, you know. So I don't know, I'll probably, as I said, I'm probably going to try and prod them, saying, let's do it again for the Beatson. I don't think they'll knock me back, you know. I've kind of got that story on them.
You've
now.
got the good one. You can pull that out.
Yeah, that's
do it for me.
That's it. So I can probably use that for a few years. So that'll be the idea. I know the guys are talking about maybe trying going abroad and doing one in a different country and something like that. So, because we've been up and down all of Scotland now. I'm trying to think. We've swum across Loch Lomond. We've been up and down mountains. And we've cycled a lot of the main roads. So it's kind of like, do we take this international now?
Yeah. I think that sounds nice. Some sunshine would be good.
When you say that and then you're running in the sunshine, you go, that's a terrible idea.
Get a happy medium. Go and march or something like that.
Yeah.
It won't be as bad. Things like that, do they help keep you going? Help give you a purpose, that and your family?
100%. So that goal kind of stopped me from dwelling on things too much. You know, I didn't kind of go, oh no, what if this goes wrong? What if this happens? And I kind of thought to myself, right, I need to get myself fit. I need to get in shape. I've got this to do. I need to raise this money. I've said I'm going to do this, so I need to do it now. So 100% it spurred me on. And probably right now I could do with another distraction. You know, I'm kind of like, got to get to Christmas before we talk about something else. So I'm probably going to need to throw myself into something. So I found any distraction whatsoever I can throw myself into, it's helping a lot mentally. Yeah, big time. You just kind of get that positive drive, your target, and if you feel yourself getting fitter and stronger, you think to yourself, I'm in a good place here. You know, I'm doing all right. Yeah.
And in terms of treatment and follow-ups and things, you just go back for checkups now?
Yeah, so I'd kind of expected I'd be getting regular scans and that, and obviously every case is a bit different. So I'm kind of getting phone calls just every 3 months. There's no scans, there's no nothing, but it's like a hotline, you know, it's like the bat phone. You know, if something's wrong, if I don't feel right. And a couple of times, as I said, because I've had my stomach taken out and some foods have been an issue, they've got me in, they've done the scopes, they've went down and everyone's been all right, you know, and they've had to stretch out again sometimes if it gets a bit narrow, things like that. So there's still all that communication, but it's not, I'm not always looking at targets going, oh no, I've got this scan in 6 months, I've got that scan in 6 months. You know, it's kind of left them on a cord, if that makes sense. If I feel something's not right, they'll get me in right away anyway.
And that's amazing to know you've got that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, and I've not used it a lot, you know, because I kind of thought to myself, I'm going to end up phoning them with absolutely
every day.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about earlier. If I get like a sporting injury or something, I'm like, can I phone them and just make sure this is all right? You know, and then you have your days where you kind of settle yourself down and go, you know, I'm not going to pester them today.
Well, how has it changed your life in terms of diet, I guess, and things like that? Has it changed it a lot? A lot, very, very much so. So it's like I kind of just stick to whole foods now. I can still, the funny thing is, I remember when I was talking to one of the surgeons at the start, and he said, oh, you won't eat the same way again, you know, and I'm kind of like not eating the same way. I can't be greedy. So I can't just go there, a pizza, I'm going to eat the full thing, you know, but I can still have a couple of slices of pizza, what normal people do. You know, that's, but if I can eat all whole foods you can think of, anything that's kind of homemade, I have absolutely no issues with. My portion sizes are fine, and I know that's not the same for everyone that went through what I went through. I've just always had a fantastic surgeon, Mr. Gallacher, if you're listening. Cheers, mate. He did a good job with that replumbing.
Yeah, he's done a great job. So, yeah, it's been, I think I've been very lucky for the way I've kind of turned out after it. I've been eating normal and I can still have a takeaway. I feel a bit rubbish after it sometimes.
Everyone feels rubbish after it.
I know.
You're never, I mean, it's great at the time, but
you still get my cravings and I'll go for it, but then I'll rein it back in. But it's done, as I said, like if I'm exercising and stuff like that, it's done a world of good for me. You know, you get in shape a lot quicker if you're eating better as well. So you get that full, yes, I'm feeling good again.
Life is good. What age are your kids?
So Layla is 8 and Anna's 5. And both of them just kind of, Layla just had her birthday on Friday there, so she did. She just turned 8. So it's getting to that stage where I'm going to need a wee outhouse or something to hide. I'm
a man cave.
Yeah, a man cave because I'm outnumbered. I'm getting to that stage where they're kind of battling over stuff. But yeah, it's every day's entertainment with them.
And when you were going through your treatment and stuff, because kids kind of just carry on, don't they? They're great at keeping you grounded and going.
And that was it. And we didn't know how to explain it to them at the start. And I remember talking to my oncologist and the cancer nurse there, my oncologist is brilliant. It was fantastic as well. He was always very positive with me, so just give him a wee mention as well as Dr. Ali, brilliant guy. Just, I don't know, every time I spoke to him, I remember every time I spoke to him, I said that to him. I said, listen, you've just made me feel 100 times better. You've just gave me a wee lift every time I spoke to him. Because if he's positive and he's a guy, it's then you've got to go with that flow, But I remember the conversation talking to him, and he said, just tell your kids you've got a sore tummy. And that was it, because you can't go into too much detail. They don't know what's going on. And it's a good way to kind of break it. Like, see, when I started shaving my head, it was like the elf in the shelf thing. So the kids got up one morning and I'd shaved like a big line right down the middle of my head, and we put the clippers on the...
Oh, did you say the elf did it?
Yeah, the elf did it. So we kind of kept them safe from it, if that makes sense.
They knew enough.
Yeah, that was it. So they didn't really need to know the full ins and outs. And I'd like a pick line and stuff in my arm as well, but it was bandaged up. But used to just tell them, it's my sore arm and stuff. And when the pick line came out, you were like, oh, your arm's all better, Daddy, that's great. And that was the other thing, like, as you said, like, you take moments. Like, I used to get frustrated, like, see if they wouldn't go to bed, and you get annoyed with them and stuff like that. And now I'll kind of lie with them and take it in. Yeah, if they're not too bad.
Most of the time.
They still have their moments where you're like, nah, I can't lie next week. Can't deal with you tonight.
Oh, we all have that. Don't worry about that. What are your goals? Because obviously you would like to do another challenge. Is there anything else? Like, has this given you a kind of get up and go or zest for life? Anything else you'd like to achieve?
Just kind of probably what we talked on earlier, maybe go and do something abroad, keep raising money. What I wanted to do is kind of highlight what I went through, because I couldn't find enough stories about what I'd went through when I first started looking. And I remember the first couple of stories I got was American. It was guys in America, and I think the charity was called No Stomach for Cancer, which was quite good. I like that. And then I found a couple of stories, and guys were doing triathlons, and their eating was fine and stuff like that. And it was only a handful of stories, but I hung on to those stories. Yes. They're the ones that are going, right, that's what I'm going to hold on to. But once again, one of the reasons I'm doing this, and I've done the triathlon, it's kind of raise awareness, because I wanted people to know that I had stomach cancer. I had my full stomach taken out, and I could still do all this stuff. I'm living a good life, and you can get there again, you can get fit, you can get healthy again, and I was just like, I didn't find enough stories in Scotland or UK or anything like that. So I thought my goal is to kind of let people know, listen, you can get your life back after something like a terrible diagnosis like this. So don't write it off, just give yourself every bit of hope and go for it.
Well, Michael, I know you were nervous about this. I have no idea why, because you've been amazing. And through you sharing your story, people are going to be able to cling to that. And every positive story and every honest story is a massive, massive help. So thank you so much for that. And we will see you up a mountain soon, I'm sure.
Definitely. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. You've been brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
If you or someone you know is affected by cancer and needs support or advice, then visit beatsoncancercharity.org.